Hello everyone, welcome to my channel, Advice to Think Twice. My name is Monica and I'm here with your daily advice for April 11th, 2017. Thank you for joining me. And if you're new to my channel, this is a general reading looking at the energies that surround us at this time and what we need to know about these energies in order to be able to use them for our highest good. Since we are looking at energies, these will play out in different ways for different people. So I always encourage everyone to keep an open mind and then take away the message of the reading and then apply it to your own situation if you feel that it speaks to that. Because for some of us, these energies will play out with our careers. For others of us, this may talk to us about something we're dealing with in our love lives and so on and so forth. So the message for us today seems to be to rise above, to stand in our integrity, and to always try to keep the bigger picture in mind, to avoid getting lost in unnecessary situations, details, conversations, that sort of thing. So the first card that we have is the Three of Cups, and this represents the influence of the past on our current situation. The Three of Cups does tell us that we may have some situations affecting or to do with our relationships, with our interactions with other people, with our circle of friends, with the people we work with, our neighbors, people in our community, people in our family, people close to us. With this Three of Cups, it would be talking about a situation in our lives where we were celebrating with the people close to us. This was a happy event. This was casual times or social times when we just enjoyed hanging out, we enjoyed being together, we enjoyed exchanging ideas, we enjoyed working together, and it was just a joyful time, or at least where just people got along with the Three of Cups. In today's energy, we do have the Five of Swords, so it will be, for some of us, this will definitely be about at least another couple of people in our lives, okay? Because we have the Three of Cups, this is how we started out, and then in the Five of Swords, this is where we are right now, okay? Someone is the victor here while the two other people are walking away, and it's the same three people in the Three of Cups, okay? So with the Five of Swords, this can represent complicated situations. It can represent difficult conversations. It can represent where people kind of lose their way and they focus more on ego than the actual friendship, or they focus more on status than actually working well with other people, or they focus more on just being right and having the last word, as opposed to having a healthy family dynamic or a healthy friendship. And the Five of Swords can see us dealing with that kind of situation today. It can see us dealing with people or situations that put pressure on us or bully us, or make us feel like we're pushed into a corner. With the Five of Swords, the Five of Swords is a take no prisoners kind of energy, where someone just kind of goes off track and it becomes more important for them to be right as opposed to the actual relationship or how they're hurting the people next to them or the people close to them, with this obsessive need to have the final say, to be right, to be up front and center, that sort of thing. And so with the Five of Swords, we can see some changes in this particular area of our lives with our connections with other people and how we relate to other people. And we had a similar message during the weekend, didn't we, where we touched upon circles of friends and people close to us, and how perhaps we see that it's just time to move on, or we don't have that much in common anymore, or we've just drifted apart, or we've become different people, and we were asked to try to embrace it and say that it's okay, and we're moving forward towards people who are more similar to the type of person we are now. And so I feel like that could also be with the Five of Swords in today's energy, going back to the message of the weekend. So it could be something we've been dealing with since the weekend or even further back. But it is a number 5, and number 5s talk about change. And you always hear me say this, change is change. It's how we react to it that makes it good or bad. And if we just see things as an opportunity, if we see things as an adventure and try to embrace it and go with it and expand our horizons, then this can be a really blessed change. If on the other hand we get caught up into the drama, the difficulty, the obstacles, the hurt feelings, the hurt egos, and so on and so forth, not only will we lose connections and relationships, but we can also get deeper and deeper into negative energy with this kind of situation that the Five of Swords talks about. And so we are asked that we keep a level head on our shoulders. Whoever wants to leave our lives at this time, let them go. It is Mercury retrograde, so odds are they'll be back anyway. And this is also addressing issues from the past, where we may have held our tongue in certain situations, where we have now gotten to the point where it's becoming too much, where we always have to compromise, we always have to keep our mouths shut, we always have to do what's best for the whole team or for the whole group or for the whole department or whatever, and we feel like we're losing our individuality and like we don't matter as much as an individual. And so if that is the case, the Five of Swords here is an energy that says it's best not to engage in the hostility. Okay, it's best not to take part in that kind of action. If we can keep things peaceful while expressing our truth with compassion and patience and diplomacy, wonderful. If not, maybe it's best to turn away from the situation, calm down, and then go back to it when we can. Remain calm so that we don't get caught up in things that, you know, that's not what we were looking for. That's not what we were looking to address in that conversation. Is that kind of conversation where you just want to express something, you just want to say a sentence, but the other person gets caught up in how we're talking and the words we're using and the tone of our words and so on and so forth. And so it becomes more about how we're hurting each other's feelings as opposed to what the actual message is that we're trying to convey. And with Mercury retrograde, it can see miscommunication and misinterpretation happening quite a lot, so it's just something to keep in mind. So if we can be calm, then this is the time to have that conversation and stand up for ourselves and maybe set up some new boundaries or some new ground rules. And if we cannot be calm, or if we feel being, you know, drawn into the drama and the conflict and the tension, then it's best to step away, cool off, cool down, and then go back and address the situation. But we definitely are going to see some changes here. And it's all about not getting involved with our, or carried away, let's say, by our emotions, because there's a real risk that we're running to do that. And the energy that we're moving into tomorrow with is the King of Swords. So we have swords here. So that's all about our intellect, our reasoning, our logical thinking. It's not that the King of Swords does not have feelings. He does. He just keeps them under control. He understands them. He rarely expresses them because he believes that they may not be helpful in all situations. Sometimes they may do more damage than help a situation, and so he just sticks to being calm, cool, collected, expressing the message with skill, with diplomacy, and then dealing with the actual issue as opposed to creating additional issues because of hurt feelings being involved. So hopefully that makes sense. And so the King of Swords here is us moving forward with that diplomacy, with, you know, rising above the situation. And that doesn't mean, oh, I don't even want to deal with it. No, it's saying, you know what, if I say this right now, it's going to get taken out of context. It's going to get blown out of proportion. So excusing ourselves in a situation and going away, letting people calm down, coming up with a strategy or with, you know, a way to say what we want to say that is clear, that is to the point and diplomatic, and then going back and having that conversation. But the King of Swords is definitely not one to get lost in details, not one to get lost in emotions and, people's hurt feelings and all of that. He is the diplomat. He is an excellent negotiator if he needs to be. He is justice, so he is fair and balanced at all times. And he is focused on getting to the truth of the matter and resolving an issue, as opposed to making it something big and dramatic and confusing and complicated. And so that's the energy that we're moving forward with. If we change our circle of friends in the process, then know that that was a healthy thing to happen. That was a healthy thing to do. Not getting lost in our emotions and hurt feelings, which is, again, easier said than done. But at the end of the day, if something is going to hurt us, then maybe we don't want to have that situation or person in our lives if we get nothing but hurt out of it. There's a time and a place for everything. Everything is a lesson and a learning experience, but it doesn't have to be that we always have to get hurt to have a learning experience. It's not all about the pain. It's not all about the conflict. At some point, the lesson is anticipating drama and conflict and opting out of it, because we can see that it's not going to help anyone. It's just going to make things worse and prolong pain, as opposed to resolving issues. And our guidance card is the Eagle, number 9. And this has to do with spirit integrity and connection to the angelic realm. So this is all about certain endings, because it is a number 9, and it could be to do with our circle of friends or people we hang out with or people we deem close to us, because of conflict, pain, drama, where it's not about working well together anymore or being good friends to each other. It's more about who's right and proving each other wrong, and people struggling and fighting all the time to have the last word, or to just create drama for no reason. With the Eagle here, we will see this, or we have been seeing this. We are very keen. Our intuition is very sharp, and we are asked to stand in our integrity, to be the diplomat, to express our truth, or decide what is best. Decide what the best way is to handle that situation that's going to cause the less pain, that is going to diminish drama in as much as possible, as opposed to just getting lost in it. And connection to the angelic realm, this is about thinking about things in perspective, and it's also about being compassionate. It's about accepting that we can't control what people do and what people think, and on the same hand, we shouldn't live our lives for other people or the way other people think we should. Showing compassion, showing patience, sending people love and light and prayers, and then letting them leave our lives, or us leaving their lives, if that is the best way to handle that situation, if nothing else works. And it is about keeping our calm and staying in a peaceful mindset and a diplomatic attitude above all else, not getting caught in the hurt feelings and the egos where we feel like we have to hurt that person back just because they said something hurtful about us, and so on and so forth. It's just about seeing things for what they are and seeing people for who they are, and everyone's doing their best, and we're all on different paths, and we have our own journey that we need to go through, and it's okay that from time to time we don't mesh, we don't click, we don't get along, because we're always changing, and hopefully we're changing for the better. But again, it doesn't mean that that has to be the case for everyone else around us. Everyone is going through their own individual journey, and that's okay. We just have to rise above the situation, have a bird's eye view on things, and decide, is my place here, or is it time for me to move on? Are these people helping and exalting me, or are they bringing pain, negativity, drama, conflict in my life for no good reason? And so for today, we may have to ask some of these difficult questions, and we may see some things come to a conclusion, come to an end in our lives. But we will feel in our heart, because we are connected to spirit today more than usual, we will feel in our heart what the right thing to do is, what the healthy thing to do is, for everyone involved and for ourselves at the end of the day. And so it's about speaking our truth, standing in our integrity, being the diplomat, showing compassion, patience, understanding, and if a situation cannot be resolved, then maybe it's best to step away from that situation. And it is Mercury retrograde. I'm just getting, that things kind of go back to that as well. So it adds to what we're dealing with. So we may see things where, we've been keeping our mouth shut for a while now, or we've known or we've seen this coming for a while now, and now is just the time when it's just time to address the situation. It's time to have the conversation. It's time to cut ties. It's time to move on. And that's what this is. It's also, there's a level of growing up in these cards where we're going from, enjoying ourselves, and it's all about the merriment, and it's all about the hanging out and partying and socializing and going out and having that carefree energy, that may lead to conflict and drama, because, where people rely on their feelings a little bit too much, it can get complicated. And so we're moving away from that, and we're turning into the King of Swords, where this is maturity. This is knowing what the right thing to do is. This is being able to stay balanced and fair in any situation, and to be the diplomat as opposed to being passive aggressive and resorting to hurting other people just because they hurt us, and so on. So that is our message for today. I hope that it makes sense and that it helps. Thank you very much for joining me, and thank you so much for all your support. I do appreciate it. Have a wonderful day, and I'll talk to you again tomorrow. Take care.